running for U.S. Senate on the Republican ticket, which the election is on the 30th. So everyone should be making sure they know who they're voting for. And we have some of our candidates here to make sure you guys can make your decisions a little easier. Gabriel is a former U.S. Navy SEAL, and now he runs a private investment company in Boston. And welcome him to.
Coming at you guys and ladies. I just want to start off, obviously, the last few days have been, something that, I'm not sure you're from Boston, but you guys obviously going to school here, so you've been here for a while. And you guys saw what happened on Monday. I was about to cross the finish line, and my wife and kids were about 2 blocks away. So obviously, I'm not sure if you guys have run a marathon before, but you see all your friends along the route and everything. My wife and kids, I got 4 young kids, 13 down to 8. So I stop, give the high fives, give the hugs and kisses and all that. And then I go to the finish line, and I'm about to go meet a bunch of press, because I'm the one guy running the marathon. About 1.5 blocks away, a few minutes later, luckily my wife and kids started to make their way toward where we were going to rendezvous. Killed 3 very innocent people. You hear the first explosion. And unfortunately, I'd heard those before, so I knew what had happened. So obviously the first thing you want to do is try to get hold of your family. About 30 minutes of no cell coverage because of what's going on in the area. Finally, one of my guys was able to send a text, and we rendezvoused up. But I will say, from what turned out to be the most amazing day, and then the worst moment, what I saw right away, and what you've seen for the last 5 days, culminated with the capture of the second terrorist last night, was the first responders immediately responded. And you saw the police officers get on. You saw the EMTs rushing in there. You hear about the group of nurses that crossed the finish line and turned back around and went back towards the scene of the first 2 bombs and started performing CPR and started helping out and started getting blood. So it literally turned into a very, very tragic event. But you saw the best of Boston. And I don't know if you were at this interfaith service or if you watched it on TV, but you saw Mayor Menino get up, with a broken leg during the ceremony, and that just kind of epitomized exactly what Boston is. And it's a great place to go to school. If you grew up here, it's a great place to be from. It just showed just how strong Boston is. I just want to start with that. I'll also say, how many guys here are going to law school? Or people are going to go to law school later on? All right, I'll try to talk you out of it. Because I know there's a bunch of lawyers down in D.C. They're going to spend the next few days trying to figure out how they're going to deal with this terrorist, right? Or this suspect that they captured with the law enforcement. And there's going to be a bunch of people that are going to be talking about it in some bureaucratic way about how they're going to deal with this person. But I can tell you, it's black and white. Whether he's a citizen or whether he's a U.S. resident, this person went to the other side, set bombs next to civilians and kids, and a police officer 2 days ago. And I think it's black and white, he's a terrorist. And as a terrorist, he's an enemy combatant. And hopefully the next few days, we're going to see that he's not going to get rid of his Miranda rights, and he'll be treated as an enemy combatant. Just keep an eye on that one. I'll give you a little background about myself, and then I'll tell you why I'm running, and then hopefully you guys can spread the word. Because I know that since you guys are here, you guys are very active and get people to vote on April 30th. So, as I was introduced, my name is Gabriel Gomez. I've never been in politics, not a lawyer, and I'm running for the United States Senate. I'm a first-generation American. My parents came here a year before I was born, and I learned Spanish first. And from a young age, I saw how this country embraced my parents and gave them a chance, not only them, but for their kids, a chance at the American dream. So I wanted to give back, and I applied to the Naval Academy. Are there any Rossis here? No Rossis. All right. We'll try to get more Rossis than lawyers. All right. So I went to the Naval Academy. I became a pilot. I was flying on-off aircraft carriers for a few years. And then I thought, I didn't want to look back on life and have any regrets in terms of not trying something because it was too hard or the hill was too steep to climb. So I wanted to be a SEAL. Now, less than 1 in 5 who start training make it through SEAL training. So my buddies were trying to track me out of it. The Navy told me that if I didn't make it through, I wouldn't be able to go back and fly. I'd lose my pilot status. And I did it anyways. I was class leader of SEAL Class 181. Had a great time in the Navy. Had a phenomenal career in the SEAL teams. Got to see a lot of stuff. Got to travel a lot of places. And do a lot of good things. I met my wife in my first attachment. She was a Peace Corps volunteer. She was a teacher at school for children with special needs. And now we've been married for 17 years, and we've got 4 amazing young kids. We live down in the South Shore. I got out of the Navy after 9 years and went to business school at Harvard. And I've been in the private sector for 16 years, helping companies grow and be successful. And the reason I'm running is because I want to serve again. I started my career serving in the military. I've got 16 years of private sector experience. And I've got 4 young kids, old enough to be your parents here. And what I'm worried about is that if we stay on the same path we're on right now, with the $17 trillion in debt, with the fiscal instability, with the policies coming from DC that are having companies not invest in themselves, not invest in their people, and not hire. My kids, your generation, and your kids' generation may not have the same chance at the American dream my parents came here for. They decided not to go back to Columbia for. Now you guys are going to graduate in a couple of years. You're going to see that this world is getting more and more competitive. You're going to have an environment where, in your peer group, the unemployment rate is almost 25%. You're going to have an average of student debt, you guys are probably higher, but the average student debt for a college graduate, almost $25,000 in a weak economy. You're going to be dealing with entitlements where you're going to hope that Medicare and Social Security will be around when you guys are retirement age. But now you guys think you're never going to get there, but you're going to see you're going to get there eventually. And so we need to deal with the spending side. They talked about a balanced approach here. We've already dealt with, I think, one side, which is raising taxes not just on the top 2%, but also on everybody else with payroll tax. So we have to have a sane policy of how we're going to deal with spending down there. And when you think about, being a Republican in today's world, and here especially in Massachusetts, you think about the core Republican principles, which are greater personal responsibility, more personal freedom, and smaller, more effective government. Now, the reason that I'm optimistic about the Republican Party and why I'm proud to be a Republican is because when we go into and try to expand our Republican Party as opposed to what it is right now in a very narrow group, we go into the urban areas, into areas that are not typically Democratic, that are not typically Republican strongholds, and you talk about the core Republican principles that I just mentioned, the response we get is like, wow, I believe in that stuff. I am a Republican. And so I'm confident that in the future, we're going to expand this party because we're going to talk about what we stand for as opposed to what we're against. We're going to espouse the Republican core principles of more personal responsibility, more personal freedom, and smaller and more effective government. You go into these areas, you're going to see the Republican Party expand itself. If we don't do that, we're going to see the same results we saw in 2012, same results we saw in 2010 and 2008. It's just a fact. Now, I'm one of you. I've worked for everything I've done in my life. You guys are all high achievers where you are right now. For a kid who didn't know English until he got to school, earning his way to the Naval Academy, earning his pilot wings of gold, earning his Navy SEAL tribe, earning his way to Harvard Business School, earning his way to a successful private sector career. One thing you should take away is that no matter how successful you get in life, you should never be ashamed of how successful you are. Just don't take anything for granted out there. The Republicans here, they're going to try to shame you into saying, into thinking, the more successful you are, the more embarrassed you should be about that. You're never going to see me or anybody on our campaign be ashamed of any kind of success we've had because we've earned everything we've done. And that's one thing that we're going to keep expounding as we go forward into this campaign. You got to be proud of everything we had. The beauty is we just have to have the opportunities. And if we don't change what's going on in this country right now in terms of the debt and the fiscal instability, you guys are not going to have the same opportunities as you deserve. I think each generation should pass on a better America to the next generation. And that's why I'm running. Because my kids, and your kids, and their kids deserve a better America than what they have right now. Now, what I'll bring to the job is a military man's discipline, a father's sensitivity, and a businessman's experience. Now, I think the last 5 days have shown that it's still a very dangerous world out there. And, you know, as a SEAL, unfortunately I've seen danger up front. I know what it's like to go through a door, not knowing what's on the other side. Just like these brave law enforcement people did in Watertown yesterday, in a 20 square block area, clearing houses one by one, methodically, and at the end, they got their target. But the fact that they were going house by house, door by door, should give you hope in terms of what we have out there for public service right now. It's a rapidly changing world out there. Our terror is changing, and we need to change this as quickly. And that's what I'm talking about the Republican Party in terms of being more exclusive as opposed to exclusive, bringing people in. Our party needs to change as well. I think it's time that we send somebody down to D.C. who's an outsider, somebody who's been in the private sector, and understands what I think are the core problems down there, which is the economy right now. And I think you're going to see that when you guys graduate. Hopefully, this economy starts picking up and the job market improves for when you guys get out there. You know, it's not an easy time to be your age right now in terms of, you know, the job prospects going out there. But you guys can make a difference. You guys can go out there and vote, get your friends to vote, and just be proud of being a Republican and be proud of espousing the core Republican principles and going out there. And you'll be amazed at how many people actually believe that if you go out there and start talking about it. So I appreciate you guys, ladies, being here. Bless you. And like I said, our goal is to reach out to as many as you as we can to earn your respect and to hopefully get you guys to go vote on April 30th and earn your vote on April 30th. I really appreciate your time.